What's up? It's your boy Los LOS, and I am here with John Vergara. Did I say that right? Did I say it correctly?
Vergara. Yeah.
Vergara.
There you go.
We're gonna do it that way. Vergara.
Okay.
So, John, I'm in a room filled with radios and artwork.
Yeah.
Where does your passion come from that you collected so many radio boomboxes? Let me get that right?
BoomBoxes, yeah.
To respect the
the
arts,
culture, yeah.
the culture is boomboxes, right?
Yeah.
Or the other name for boomboxes was
They had different names: Ghetto Blasters, Jam Box. The list goes on and on. But the most popular ones were BoomBox and Ghetto Blaster.
okay.
Yeah.
And so what gave you the passion to collect all these?
Oh man, as a kid, man, I mean, to be honest with you, that was the PlayStation of the time, man. There was no other thing. This was pretty much our entertainment, man. You know, because of music and stuff like that, it was easier and much cooler to walk around with your music than to, be at home listening to it in the house. So, we got a chance to take whatever we want with us on the road and dance and, just chill and kick it.
So, do you remember your first boombox?
Yeah. My first boombox was a Crown. It was called a Crown. It was actually gold. They don't make it. I haven't seen one yet. But yeah, that was my first boombox. And I think my mother bought that one for me at the flea market in just west of Humboldt Park, right on Division Street. I think she paid like $50 for it.
The flea market by Division by almost Cicero?
Yeah, over there. Yep.
Yeah,
that's where mostly all the people from the community got their boomboxes from there.
Or clothes.
Pretty much.
Or anything else in that place.
Everything came from the flea market.
That place is still around too.
It is. It actually is. Yeah. It sure is.
That's awesome. So how many boomboxes have you collected throughout the years?
Hundreds. I have hundreds. I've been collecting them. So this actually started. So I've always, growing up, had a boombox. Even through the 90s and through the 2000s, I always had I loved the fact that I could carry a boombox around, and I just thought it was cool. But I've been buying boomboxes since I was a kid. But this became something totally different. This was actually supposed to be an art show for an organization that I was working for, where we were working with we're doing violence prevention work.
Okay.
And I was doing an art program with kids, and we were doing I started collecting boomboxes because we wanted to use these as like backdrops and like props for like an art show with the kids. I was teaching them how to do paint art and stuff like that, and we were doing a hip hop kind of inspired art show with the kids. And I started collecting one or two, and then it just turned into like something totally different. And this has been for the past 5 years where, just like people were donating boomboxes that they had to me for the art show, and they just kept coming in. And I was getting 5 or 6 to almost 10 a week, like random people.
So they were just giving them to you,
sending them to me, mailing them to me. And it didn't stop. So then I understood the value later on, as a couple of years later, maybe about 5-6 years ago, the value of some of these radios. And I don't even think some of these people understood what they had. They were just sending me these radios as donations for the art show. And I'm no longer with the organization or working with the youth in that field. But it went on for a couple of years where I was just getting boom boxes. I would come home to be boxes in my hallway, and I'm like, oh my God, it won't stop. And I'm glad it didn't, because now it's one of those things where, as a kid, some of these radios I remember having, and I never had a chance to get them because they were too expensive, or my parents couldn't afford them. And it just brings back a lot of memories. So
how much was a boom box back then?
You had smaller stuff, $20-$30, but then you had stuff that was in the couple of hundreds, $300 or $400, So yeah, they ranged in different prices. Now some of them are priceless.
So what's the official number of boom boxes you have?
I have hundreds. I don't want to mention the actual number, but I got hundreds.
Because I was about to blow somebody out the water with their number they put out.
No, I got 100. I got over 400 of them.
Over 400?
More than actually.
I think you're being modest.
Yeah, I'm being modest. Yeah.
Okay, we won't say the number. We won't say the number.
Yeah. It's
you're
hundreds.
being modest.
Yeah.
So do you think you have the most in the world?
From what I'm hearing, a couple of people told me that I have the most boom boxes in the world, actually, but I'm not really sure, because there was a couple of people that had 300 or 400, and that was a couple of years ago. I've surpassed that already. So I'm pretty much, I don't know where I'm at this point, to be honest with you. But people have told me, yeah, you have the largest collection of boombox radios.
And are you still getting them? Are they still coming in? Or you still...
It was strange because a couple of weeks ago I did receive one, and I was like, oh God, and it had no address on it. It was just my address. It didn't have a return address, and I was like, I didn't even know where it came from. So it just randomly popped up in my hallway, and then I was like, oh my God, there's another boombox here. But the majority of these, I've actually opened them up just to make sure that there was nothing inside of them that, can harm me or the family or stuff like that, because I'm paranoid like that at times.
Well, you should be, because something just shows up.
Yeah, so it just showed up, but I opened them up. I have found money and other objects inside of radios that I've opened up, and it was pretty interesting.
Okay.
I'm like, wow, somebody actually used this for that.
So now I got to ask you. See, this is where I said earlier, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you at one point.
Yeah.
So you said you found money.
Yeah, I found money.
What else have you found inside of a boombox?
In one of them, I actually found drugs.
Like what kind of drugs?
Cocaine, and I actually I dumped it.
The white snow.
Yeah,
the white snow.
It was inside. It wasn't a lot, but it was like, wow, somebody actually had some coke inside this.
Someone thought that you were like a little treat.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay, so I tossed it out.
Straight garbage.
Yeah, I'm not on use drugs.
But thanks for the boombox.
Thanks for the boombox. I did find one that was $50 in it. One had about $3 or $4 in it, and I'm just like, how did they even get this in here? And I don't understand how.
I gotta ask you, why are you getting so much love? That's love. People are just weird. Sending you stuff.
Yeah, well, the reason is that there was, when I was doing the art program with the youth, it was really about violence prevention, and people really cared about that, because I was dealing with the kids that were active on the streets, whether they were boys or girls, and some of them were gang involved, some of them were in and out of they were incarceration and stuff like that. So people really thought that was a really good thing that I was doing, was working with that violence prevention program, and I'm doing the art shows with them, and then painting murals around the country. But mainly, with the youth, I would pay them, to just come out and paint a mural with me. Oh, awesome. And it was a way to keep them engaged and keep them out of trouble. And people really loved that. And the fact that I needed a couple of boom boxes, I just put it out there once or twice, and next thing you know, it turned into this. So yeah, it's been a ride, man. It's strange, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with all these eventually. But I most likely, I'll figure it out. Yeah.
So you think one day you'll be selling these?
Probably not. They'll probably go. It really depends. Everybody. The first thing I thought of, I might give it. This collection to my son. Because, that would be good. But if the price is right, ain't no telling, man. But right now it's a love that I have for them. So I'm not looking to sell them right now at all.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what is your rarest boombox that you have?
I have a couple of them, a bunch of them. A lot of these boomboxes are pretty rare. There's Vinix. It's a strange boombox. Different cultures and different countries had these different style boomboxes. Even Russia had their own version of boomboxes. China had them. Japan, Korea, Germany. Germany has some really cool stuff too. You have the Grundig boombox, and you have Canyons, and the Vinix is a really small boombox, but it's a unique one. And there's just so many different versions of like what's unique. They're all unique, but there's a green one I have here that's it's a really rare unit. It's you don't find that.
You mind if I grab it and bring it into the camera?
Yeah, no, feel free. I'll grab it.
Okay, grab
it. Yeah, no, absolutely.
He doesn't want me touching it. He doesn't want me touching it.
It's a small boombox. It actually, this fell out. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Here. So
this is the boombox?
Yeah.
Let me show the camera.
So that little guy there is extremely rare. It was actually, I heard a lot of stories, different stories about what it was made for and why, but one of the stories was that it was actually made as a piece, as an advertisement piece, that they didn't sell them, supposedly. I'm not really sure if that's the truth. But these weren't made here in this country. That's not I think it was made in somewhere in Germany, I'm not sure where, but they didn't sell them here in the United States. So that's a very rare unit, especially in that color. There's a small one, but it's just really cool. It doesn't pick up American stations, so it's only cassette. You can only use the cassette.
Really?
Yeah. So it's a very unique piece, but it's super dope. It's just like one of my favorite little. Reminds me of candy for some reason.
So what would a piece like that go for?
Oh, they could go in the hundreds. Yeah, in the mid-hundreds or whatever. I've seen them on eBay. Everybody uses eBay as an example, but you can put any price on eBay stuff, So, but I've seen people selling for $500, $600, $800.
Oh wow.
A piece.
Wow.
Yeah. So for the little bitty ones.
So that is one of your rarest. What is one of your oldest?
Oh man, I have some in here that are really unique. There's I think that one there is a Montgomery Ward. That one's a cassette radio, and it's got the 8-track player.
So Montgomery Ward made radios.
Yeah, everybody had their hand in the boombox thing when the boom. I mean, you have everything. Siemens had their thing. You had Electro Brand. You had Sanyo, Sharp, Toshiba, Kenwood. Everybody, at that time was in the boombox thing.
I think earlier off camera you said even J.C. Penney had a.
J.C. yeah, absolutely. Montgomery Ward, J.C. Time Magazine had one.
Time Magazine had a radio.
I don't have that little. It's a little one. It was a little transistor radio, but it was still cool,
Okay.
Everybody's had. There's not a company out here that did not make a boombox at one time.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yep.
So does the boombox ever get in your way when you have so many? Do you have to move them out?
Absolutely.
You display them sometimes.
They're always in my way, man. They're a pain in the ass, but I love them, man. That's just part of my life, man. It's kind of like, man, my son. This was my son. My son is now in the Marine Corps, so now these are my children right here. I can take care of them. I make sure they're cleaned and serviced, and they got humidifiers in the room and stuff like that to keep them preserved and stuff like that.
Okay, so Johnny. Is it okay?
Yeah, Johnny. Mm-hmm.
So Johnny, let's talk about that. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about you a little bit.
Yeah.
You say you have a son. How many kids do you have? Are you
I
married?
have one son. Yeah, I have a son. He's 23, and he's in the Marine Corps. He's in Japan. He's based in Okinawa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One son and the wife?
Yeah, my wife is here. She's she's a counselor.
A counselor?
Yeah, she does counseling.
Like school counseling?
Substance abuse.
Okay.
Yeah, and she deals with a tough population. So we both have done. We know what it's like to deal with that population. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
So where did you grow up, John?
I born and raised in Humboldt Park.
In Humboldt Park?
Yeah, born and raised. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Around what streets?
I was born and raised on the intersection of Evergreen in between Holman and St. Louis.
Okay.
But my stomping grounds was really on the west side, on Division and Ridgeway, Division and Hamlin, and Division and Maplewood, like the Division Street area.
Yeah. So you said Humboldt Park area, so high school was Clemente?
Yeah, I went to both. I went to Orr for a little while, Rising Orr on Pulaski in Chicago. That didn't last very long. I was not welcomed by some of the kids there, and then I had to eventually transfer over to Clemente High School where things. I was more comfortable there, but things got, much worse for me as a teenager.
So you say much worse. And these are the parts I say, stop you. I want to go a little further into
for
that.
Sure. No, for sure. No, the gang culture. Humboldt Park was really, the gang culture was engraved in that neighborhood for decades. And, I had the unfortunate, upbringing in that whole lifestyle, when the gang culture and the drug culture and stuff like that, and it was always a challenge just leaving school, going to school, wondering if I'm going to get jumped after school, or if I'm going to wind up jumping somebody, or it was a back and forth thing. So it was more, what do I do? Do I stay in school and chance it, or just drop out and just continue running around with the guys on the streets? And eventually I dropped out.
Yeah, I feel you. I used to live on California Cortez.
Yeah, so yeah.
So Yep. So I know it was like just going to school, those 3 little blocks that you go, it's like, okay, what direction you go to?
Yep.
Because you might go in the wrong direction that day. You might bump into one gang or a different gang that might not like you or not know who you are.
And you had these imaginary borders that we all put up in our minds of communities and stuff like that. We can't cross the street, or we can't go on the side.
Definitely.
And it's like when I first got my first car, it was a Delta 88, a '79 Delta 88.
Come on.
I remember driving that around, and I remember a friend of mine was like, "Don't go this way, go down Palmer, and then come down Central Park, and then come up North Avenue." And it was just this whole. You had to zigzag your way through areas because that's just the way it was. You couldn't get caught at a stop sign in a certain area.
Even in the car, you might get rammed.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day,
dude.
The thing was
we had rammers. Everybody had a rammer.
Yeah.
And the Delta 88 was a solid ride, man, and that was a. I've put a couple of people into the wall, man, with that thing, man, because I had no choice, But
sometimes you just don't back then.
Yeah, it was just that's the way it was, man, and it was an unfortunate time, but it's nothing's really. I mean, the neighborhood has changed, you know, but that culture is still alive and you know, kicking.
So your family comes from what we were talking about earlier off camera. Your family comes from a rich background of Puerto Rican culture.
Absolutely, yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, my family came here. I'm not sure exactly the year. Either the early 50s or the late 40s. It might be the early 50s. My family migrated here. My mother has 14 or 15 brothers and sisters, and it was a massive family. My father had, you know, a number of brothers and sisters. I think about 4 or 5 or 6 or something like that. So we had a giant family. Our family get-togethers were real family get-togethers, and you know how that in a Puerto Rican family in the 70s and 80s, family get-togethers always turned out some other way eventually. So
pretty much.
But yeah, it was, for the most part, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, you know, as a kid, you know. But you know, I always gravitated toward the arts, regardless.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So were your family ever involved in the uprisings or things in the past, you know, 70s, 60s, 50s that happened here in Chicago?
Yeah, now in 1966, just before I was born, my uncle, Arcelis Cruz, my father's brother, he was shot by a police officer in right off of Damon. I think it was in the Division and Damon area, or Armitage and Damon area. I'm not sure exactly where the riot started, but he was shot supposedly accidentally by a police officer, and he wasn't killed, but it started the first riot when he was shot by that officer, and that was in 1966. And I don't know much about the riot because I wasn't there, but I heard it was pretty ugly. So and then also in the 1977, the gang culture was, you know, had a uprising against the police there in 1977. So it was a couple of riots that happened in that during those 2 decades that my family was involved in.
So awesome. So you have some roots in somewhat negative stuff, but you also have roots, if we go back into our interview, some real good roots on positive stuff that you did for the community.
Yeah.
Have you done anything else in the community right now, or presently doing in the community, or anywhere in the world? Because I'm pretty sure, from what we talked about, you've done things in a lot of places. I'm gonna say a lot all over the world.
Yeah. I have. I've worked with artists from all over the country and in different countries. I mean, all over this country and in different countries. I've as a muralist, full-time muralist and artist, you meet a lot of people. So I have met a ton of people, and I've had the privilege of working with some of the most like well-known muralists in the world. You know, artists like John Pittman Weber, Robert Valadez, and I briefly worked with Hector Duarte, he's a Mexican artist here in Chicago in the Pilsen community, and I've had the privilege to work with some of these artists. And you know, as grown up as an artist and a muralist, these are the people you wish you can work with. You know, a lot of people that I know have read books on them and said, "Oh my God, you're working with John Weber," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm working with. That's my home. I've helped restore. He's trusted me to restore some of his stuff. You know, and." It's just a blessing and an honor to kind of work with like the Michael Jordan of murals, you know, who gets a chance to do that. Not many people.
That's awesome.
So, you know, that's, you know, doing that, you learn a lot. You learn a lot and you learn a lot of skills as well. Yeah.
So if people wanted to go see one of your murals, where can they see them?
You can see them on Instagram, on Facebook, but most importantly, you can see them in person in the communities. You can see them all throughout Chicago. A lot of them in Humboldt Park. A lot of the murals were indoor murals. As well as outdoor murals, so they're kind of like all over Chicago and different cities and stuff like that.
So I want to tell the viewers exactly where to find them. So if they're in the Humboldt Park area, what cross streets, if you could remember, your murals are at? Yeah,
so actually one of the more, so sometimes a mural doesn't have to be the most beautiful mural. It's actually what it means is what's important, and a lot of people tend to say, "Oh, that mural is not that," you know, it's not, but it's actually the story behind the mural itself. So there was one that I had done in 2009 or 2010. It was actually a mural of this design I created. It was called the Paseo Boricua flag, the Humboldt Park flag. Not the steel flags that cross the street, it's the actual town flag, which it became the town flag. That wasn't the intention at first. And it's right on the intersection of Campbell and Division Street. You can't miss it. It's across the street from one of the more famous murals by a friend of mine, Gamaliel Ramirez, which is the Sea of Flags directly across the street from it.
Okay.
And I'll get into about the Legends mural, about the Gamaliel part after this. And I got a chance to design this flag, and that flag was actually what we did it old school. We just went door to door and asked everybody for paint. The Puerto Rican Cultural Center donated some paint. And we just painted with the kids in the neighborhood. These were active guys. We just painted this mural of this design on it, and I put this bio on there. And people really, really, they took to the design. They loved the idea of the design. And eventually, just long story short, it just became a flag, and it became the 79th flag inside the United States, honorary flag. So the actual title of the flag is 79th. That's the name of the flag.
Okay.
It actually has a name. Even though it's the Paseo Boricua flag, it's actually got a name of the title of 79th.
Yes, I didn't know that was.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was the Chicago.
The Chicago
flag.
Puerto Rican town flag.
I thought it was from Puerto Rico.
No.
I thought it was the actual flag of Puerto Rico. Now
Yeah.
I know. Now I want to get a T-shirt.
Yeah, no, for sure, man.
Yeah.
And that flag became really, really popular, and the community embraced it 100%. They really did. And what the beautiful thing about that flag is that it doesn't represent the Puerto Rican people only. It represents a community, whether it's black, white, brown. It doesn't matter the color. It doesn't matter the gender. It doesn't matter. It's just it represents the people. That's what it does, and that's what's been embraced by everybody.
So John, you're a full-time artist.
Yep.
Full-time artist. This
Yes.
is what you do, and the
That's
only
it.
thing that you do.
Yep.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Just continuing to be an artist. I don't have no plan. I'm just, artists never retire. That's the crazy thing about it. It could be a curse and it could be a blessing if you retire. I'm going to paint until the day I can't.
Okay.
Whether
if you can move your arms, you're still doing it.
if they're gone, I'll use my feet.
Come on,
if
somebody.
they're gone, I'll use my whatever. So
He said whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I get creative. Hey, the more rare and strange, the better, I guess. But no, man, I'm just an artist, man. That's what I do, man. And I'm just focusing more now on. I'm gonna actually be retiring from murals in the next 2 months. I'm no longer gonna be painting murals. I'm focusing more on my own work and more art events and shows and gallery showings.
Okay.
I'm going back to that because I miss it. I miss the networking with people and getting to meet people and people coming to your show and appreciating your work instead of having to do a commission piece and take months or weeks, just to create this piece, and you're doing something beautiful for them, but then you go home, you're not satisfied. It's like, man, I got to do something beautiful for me. So I'm going back to the basics, going back to the grind of art shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you have something right behind me up here.
Yeah.
You made, of course, you made that one as well.
Yeah, that's actually my son. I painted him. He actually enjoyed Louis Vuitton, the design, but it just came out like that. I had a red canvas that I painted red, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I took a photograph of him, and we thought it was dope. And that was actually the first painting I did with anybody with a BoomBox.
Okay.
And that's going to be part of that show coming up. Yeah.
We'll talk about that show in a minute.
Yeah.
What about this one right here?
That's a friend of mine. I worked with him. He worked in a school that I was doing violence prevention, and I was doing Peace Circle with some of the students that he used to. He was working in the office at West Park Academy of Fine Art and Technology in the west side of Humboldt Park. They call it West Humboldt Park, and this Humboldt Park. And I was doing violence prevention there, and that's where I met him. And I asked him, "Hey, man, can you just pose and take a shot while I want to do something dope that's kind of like a mixture of the African American, but I really wanted to focus on the BoomBox as well, and then somehow bring in Tribe Called Quest, and that's how that painting came."
Come on, somebody.
Yeah.
So getting a boombox at an early age, what kind of music were you blasting out?
Oh, bro, it was house music, man.
It was house music all night long.
All night long, bro. It was house music. That's all I grew up. See, Chicago had its own thing, man. Of course, it was hip hop. There was salsa. There was all this stuff. But Chicago's, it was about house music, man.
Okay.
It was a totally different vibe. West Coast had their thing and East Coast had their thing, but Chicago was a whole nother vibe.
So your thing was house music?
It was definitely house music. Yeah.
I promoted house music for a long time.
It was definitely house music. And it was actually before house music. It was actually disco and funk. When WBMX started in 80 or 81, it wasn't house music. It was disco funk.
Yes.
And, you had, Farley Jackmaster Funk, and you had, Kenny Jam and Jason, and and all these different DJs that were just coming out there, and I think Mario Smoking Diaz. Yeah, the Hot Mix 5. All these dope, just DJs, bro. They were just amazing. But one of my favorite DJs has always been, Farley, Funkin' Keith, and
Farley.
He was dope, man.
Farley,
But I remember, Kenny Jam and Jason, the disco kind of like the funk mixing was just amazing, man. And then it turned into, house music. After that, if I'm not mistaken, that's when the Warehouse, the nightclub, opened up, and that's where it became house music because it was from the Warehouse. Yeah.
Amazing. I'd never been to the Warehouse.
Yeah, I went there one time. I wasn't supposed to go, but I went.
I've been to outside of the Warehouse.
Oh no! I went in. I damn near didn't make it out, but I went in. I was not supposed to go there, man. But they warned me. But yeah, that was I remember that for the rest of my life. But anyway.
Awesome. That's awesome. I forgot what other question that I had. No, I want to go back to, you were going to talk about a little bit about Daniel. You mentioned some person, Daniel.
Gamaliel.
Yes, Gamaliel.
Yeah, so the Legends mural, I can't remember the exact address, but it's on the intersection of Pearson, St. Louis. So I had the pleasure of meeting Edme Capas, who is the owner of the building, and her family, her daughter and her son that also live in the building, through Gamaliel, who's an artist and muralist. And he was one of my mentors growing up, because this guy's been in the mural field since the late 60s.
Okay.
And he's one of the most well-known Puerto Rican artists here in Chicago. He was not born in New Jersey, but he was raised, he did his thing here. He was born here, raised here. So long story short, he had this concept of doing a memorial kind of mural for Julia de Burgos, David Hernandez, which was a poet, a very famous Puerto Rican poet, and Salima Rivera, which was another poet. And it was supposed to be a small mural on the corner of the building, and he really wanted to put that mural up, but he wound up getting sick, so he decided to make a trip to Puerto Rico, which he went at a time where it was one of the worst times to go during the Hurricane Maria thing, and he got stuck there, and he was going through cancer treatments, and he didn't make it. So unfortunately, he didn't make it. So I spoke with the owner of the building. I said, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do? Like, I was supposed to help out and do this mural," and I said, "You know what? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. But I'm gonna do a different design, but I'm gonna honor him as well." So, one of the things that I've always struggled with art and murals is you don't see a lot of honoring the people that were here before you.
Come on.
So especially in the arts, whether it's poetry, the performing arts, the visual arts, and being an artist and being him being a mentor to me, it was just a no-brainer for me to add him into this memorial, unfortunately. But it was one of those things that, he's got to be part of this. So I wound up with some of the kids from the organization that I was working with, the violence prevention program. We created, which is now called the Legends mural in Humboldt Park, and it's kind of offbeat. It's not on Main Street. It's in the community.
Right.
So on the intersection of Pierce and St. Louis. So if you ever get a chance, go check it out.
Definitely, it'll be right.
You can't miss it.
No, it'll be right here, right now. Okay.
That mural's massive. So yeah, that was we had a whole unveiling of the mural, and the community came. We did a whole block party thing. It was just such a good vibe, man. Such a good vibe. And it became one of the more popular murals here, Puerto Rican murals in Chicago.
Awesome. So, John, what do you got coming up? What's coming up for you? You have an event coming up?
Yeah. So I have an event. It's not the only one. I have multiple, but this is the one that's finalized, is the Sound Barriers art show, which is a show showing some of my paintings and the photography of just people from different cultures and backgrounds with BoomBox radios. And there's going to be a small display of some of the radios as well, but the actual show is focusing around the art. Yeah.
Awesome. When's that?
That's July 29th.
What's the address to that place?
The address, I can't remember off the top of my head.
The address will be right down here.
Yeah,
right down here. We're gonna post this. It'll be right down here.
Yeah.
So you'll see his flyer, and you'll see all the information.
Yeah.
It's gonna be right there. Where can people contact you?
They can contact me through my phone, email, Instagram, or Facebook Messenger.
So they're looking for you.
You can find me on Instagram at John the Artist 1973.
Okay.
Yeah, or you could find me on Facebook at John Vergara.
Okay. Well, John Vergara,
Yeah.
you, sir, have flavor.
Oh, well, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you for thank you for letting us in and checking out all these beautiful things.
Cool.
The boom boxes and the paintings. Right now, you can do a little segment with JJ.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, cool, man. Appreciate it, man.
You got it.
Thanks.
Hey, John.
What's happening?
Thank you for having us again. It's a pleasure, man.
Absolutely, man.
This BoomBox looks great.
All right, cool, man.
This painting here, could you tell us what inspired this painting right here?
This was actually during the beginning of my search for like these people with boom boxes. It was some people that I'm Facebook friends with.
Okay.
And I reached out to her and I asked her, I wanted features, different features. I wanted more the Afrocentric. I wanted the Afro-Latina look, and I wanted the different vibes, different look, different people. She was just kind of like right exactly what I was looking for.
Okay.
So the painting was actually, it was actually a test painting. It was all spray painted. I was testing colors on it.
Okay.
And I just had it sitting there, the background, it was just on the canvas. And then I said, I would love to get a picture of you, her, with a boombox. So I went over there, asked her if I could take a photo shoot with her. And it just took off from there, and I took it right by the back of her house, by the garage.
I mean, I love the way you captured that moment. I mean, you could definitely see it there. Let me ask you something. What type of paint do you use? I'm seeing different types of texture here.
This is all different. This is all spray paint and acrylic paints.
Okay, so you use a combination.
Yeah, definitely a mixed medium.
So how long does this take? I mean, from an idea to like the finished product, how does that work?
It depends on the actual piece. This was a lot quicker because the background was already there. It was a test piece that I was just messing around with spray paint. But I mean, they could take a day, they could take 2 days. Some of them take months.
Okay.
So it really depends on what you're doing as far as like details. This one took me, a couple of days to get it done. There's a drying process as well, and I wanted to make sure that before I put the varnish on there, that was going to dry up.
So let me ask you a question. So if we have people out there that wants to see a lot of your artwork and stuff, where could they go and see more of your incredible work?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at John the Artist 1973, and on Facebook as well.
Now you kind of mentioned you're going to have like some sort of exhibit coming.
Yeah. So I'm having an art show this July, Saturday, the 29th.
It's going to be on the 29th. You're going to see beautiful pieces like this. Do you have an idea of how many pieces you're going to bring out?
It depends. It depends on how many I get done and what I think is.
And how many you can fit inside the car, right?
Well, yeah, I got to rent. So there's a whole. That's another process. Is getting everything there. So it's only for one night the show.
Okay.
So it's a put everything up, get everybody there, and then take everything down and take it out. So it's a whole process.
All right. Hey guys, listen. On the 29th, John is going to July. That's the end of this month. He's going to showcase his artwork, all right? It's only going to be for one night.
6 to 10 p.m. and it's going to be paintings, photography, and a small setup of boom boxes, but mainly the artwork.
All right, so go out there. Let's support this man. This man is Chicago's very own. He's coming from the Chi. He is the Chi. I mean, if you ask me, I mean, the man, he does it all. I mean, he's an artist. And all his art has a story, a history behind it. And you're definitely going to see more of what we're talking about here. But support your local artists and show the love. We're out. Wow. Now this painting here, it's something else. I mean, I walked in, it just captured me. Can you tell me a little something about this painting and what this is all about here?
Yeah, definitely. Everywhere I go, I usually take a boombox with me. Just in case I say, I'm gonna take this boombox with me just in case I see somebody interesting.
Right.
I'll have them take a shot and I'll ask them if they wanna be in the art show.
Okay.
And this gentleman, Sam, was walking down Division Street. And again, I'm always looking for features and a certain look. And I just thought it was dope. He had a handkerchief around his neck, and it was
like
kind of
that.
cool, man. And he just had that look. He was an older gentleman. I said, man, would you be interested in taking a shot? And he was like, yeah, man. He grabbed the radio, and I got the original shot, and he grabbed the radio, and he held it in the middle of the street. He stood in the street, actually.
Really?
And like, just bring the boombox forward, and it was a really cool shot. So I involved him in the shot. And again, this is one of those pieces that I didn't really have. The background was already done.
Okay.
I just didn't know what to do with it. And then this happened. So I just thought it was a really unique piece, and it's very loosely painted. I painted this in a couple of hours, and I really didn't have a plan with it and everything. There's not a lot of detail, but you can still see what it is,
Right,
you know? So
right.
I really wanted it to be very loosely painted and just something creative, yeah.
Wow, interesting. So you walk around with a boombox
Every day.
and you approach people
Every day.
Have you gotten any crazy like reaction on it? Do they look at you crazy like what?
No, not really. I've never had nobody ask me. I've had people tell me, no thanks, I'm good. And I'm like, okay, cool. I never had nothing crazy happen. I've actually had nothing but good vibes about it.
That is so awesome.
Absolutely.
Man. So this man, his name was Sam, which is great. So
Absolutely, because all the artists are getting, everybody I've taken a photograph or painted will be at the art show.
really,
So you'll be able to meet the actual models, the people that took
guys hear
photographs.
that?
Yeah, so it's really cool.
you guys are meeting Sam. I forgot the name of the other lady.
Ivana, you're gonna meet
Ivana,
Jason. You're gonna meet, you know,
Jason.
hopefully, I wish my son would have been here. He's in that, but he's overseas right now, and you're gonna meet a bunch of the people.
All right, so you said these people, you're able to see not only your art, but you're able to meet these people. Where is it they could see all this and meet these people at?
Yeah. So my art show's coming up Saturday, July 29th.
Okay, that's this month.
It's this month at 1750 North California at So Exclusive 57.
Okay.
So it's gonna be from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. one night only.
Did you hear that, guys?
One night only.
This guy here is going to exhibit his art for one night. What was the address again?
1750 North California. So Exclusive 57.
Okay, for 4 hours. John, let me ask you something. Are any of these paintings for sale?
Everything's for sale. Everything has a price.
Okay. So you guys want some authentic art pieces like this from a man from the Chi. You know, he embeds everything from Chicago. John's gonna be there. Go over there, say hello, support our local artists, man, show them some love.
Come on by, drink up the wine, and have, and
Come on, free wine, man. Come on, you guys gotta go.
wine. You gotta pay for the water, but it's free wine.
All right, we out. Now this piece right here, we just seen two pieces, two beautiful pieces. Now this has a lot going on. Can you tell us what's going on here?
Yeah. So this was another one of my adventures with the boombox. I just so happened to have this boombox with me that day, and I asked a friend of mine, who his name is Jason, he will hopefully be there at the show. I said, man, I got a boombox with me, man. Would you want to be a part of the show? He's like, absolutely, man. So we met up at a site where there was a mural painted on a wall, and this wall is painted by, if I'm not mistaken, he was part of the process, but by artist Robert Valadez from the Pilsen community.
Okay.
And this mural's out there, but it's a much bigger mural. And I asked him, hey, can you just stand in front of the Aztec calendar with the boombox, and he just did it, and it came out just like that. The only thing I adjusted was the inside. I designed, I wanted the skull, Dia de los Muertos. I wanted that on there. I thought that, so I created my own vision of this part. But this entire area behind him is actually a portion of the mural that he was standing in front of.
So you did a painting of an actual mural.
A mural with a friend of mine holding the boombox. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a unique piece.
This is really, so what, did you just take a picture and then after you take a picture, then you bring in your author? Is that how it works?
I usually just take a picture and I'll come home and I'll sketch it out on the canvas, and then from there just go into painting. And this one came out really cool because that's one of my favorite boom boxes. That one was actually showcased with Public Enemy and some of their, not the actual boom box, but this is the model.
Right.
That was,
so that's the same model that Public Enemy.
Public Enemy used to carry around in some of their concerts. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool piece.
So this one's pretty interesting because the other two, you already had the background, right?
Yeah.
And all you needed was the visual so you could put in the background. This one, you had to paint the background, right?
It was a totally different process, this one, yeah.
So
And
this one probably took a lot longer then.
This one took way longer. This took a couple of weeks to paint. This was more of the traditional painting. This was from scratch, yeah.
I love it. I mean, and he embodies the whole boombox, right? I mean, wait a minute. I just noticed this. There's something right here. What does that say?
Oh yeah, so that's a little bit of the graph, that I added into La Villita, since he's from that community, from Little Village.
Little Village.
Yeah.
So if you guys notice, check this out. I mean, he threw a little, what do you call that? A tag?
Yeah, it's a little graph, little tag.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of camouflaged into his clothing. Yeah.
No, I love it. I mean, I thought it was like a shadow or something. Then I took a look and I'm like, man, that is really, really dope.
He's a good friend of mine. He's actually a really good brother and artist himself, and he's also into the violence prevention field. So we come from that, and we understand one another, and I enjoy cross culture.
Yeah.
Communication and networking, and I'm not about just one community, one people.
Right.
I mix and match with everybody. It's about that.
Yeah. No, you definitely got to network, work with other people, and this is a perfect example of one artist working with another one artist supporting the other one. So I want you guys to go support my man John one more time. Where's this going to be exhibited at?
It's going to be the Saturday, July 29th at So Exclusive 57 on 1750 North California Avenue. 4 hours only, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
And free wine, but you gotta pay for
Free
the
wine,
water.
you gotta pay for the water. And it's fountain water, so it's tap, so it is.
All right, so now this one here, this is nice. I actually like the little, this is more like a modern type of like hip Louis Vuitton. I'm seeing Louis. I love the radio. Now this is nope, sorry about that. You don't call it a radio. What do you call it?
It's a boombox or a ghetto blaster.
Ghetto blaster, boombox, man. Put some respect on the name, all right?
Absolutely.
This is beautiful. Can you tell us who this individual is and tell me a little bit more about this painting right here?
Yeah, so this painting this is one of those paintings that I just had a red canvas. I painted it red. I didn't know what to do with it. So I was painting the Louis Vuitton logo on there and kind of sort of just asked my son, hey, you want to take a photograph? And
Wait. That's your son?
That's my son. Yeah, that's my son. Yeah.
Look at
So
that,
yeah.
Man. I mean, look at how nice this looks, man.
Yeah. So I took a photograph of him with the boombox, one of the newer models, a Lasonic, and lo and behold, the image came out, and this was I think this was the third piece that I started painting in the series. Okay. Yeah.
And you say you have a couple kids or what?
This is just my son.
Oh, just your son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
man,
He's
this is gorgeous,
he's overseas. He's in the Marine Corps. He's serving right now. Yeah. He's in Okinawa. So.
What a beautiful piece, man. And I like the way you capture his look, like he's looking at something, he's glaring at something, like, so that came out really nice. Benita Applebaum, you gotta put me on. What do we got here, John?
This is a friend of mine. I was working at a school doing some violence prevention with some of the kids. He worked in the office. And Antoine McHenry. He was a really good brother, man, and we always vibed every time we met. Hey, what's up? He was a really cool brother. Now he was one of my victims, man. He fell victim of my of my boombox photos, man. So yeah, I was driving around. I had that boombox in the trunk, and I was like, man, let me just find somebody. And I said, let me give him a call, man, and see. So he was, I think he was number 4 on the list, on my hit list, man. So he became my my Tribe Called Quest inspired piece, man.
I love it. I love it.
Definitely.
I love it. I see, I was going to say, you see the Tribe Called Quest thing going on here. He was a great sport. I mean, I take a look at this, and it just brings me back to the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Remember Cross Colors?
Absolutely.
And we said, Where the African Beat? And everybody, Mr. Winslow, remember that song and whatnot?
And used jeans and all that stuff and Cross Color. Absolutely, man.
So this right here, I mean, it looks like he was a good sport. Just by him holding the boombox, you could tell like he was into it, man.
Definitely.
I love it, man. I love this piece, man. Is he gonna be at the exhibit as well?
Yeah. We spoke, and he said he's gonna be there. So I'm hoping that everybody that was in the series is going to be there on that. They're able to make it that night.
Beautiful, beautiful. John, once again, thank you for having us here, displaying these beautiful art pieces, all your beautiful art from the boom boxes, all these beautiful pieces. Guys, go support John. Once again, he's going to have an exhibit July 29th. One more time.
Yes, definitely. It's going to be at So Exclusive 57 at 1750 North California Avenue. Okay, for 4 hours only, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
All right.
That's
all
it.
right. That's it. It's a wrap. Flava. We are out.